Welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today because we're looking at something that absolutely defies logic. If you're someone who loves to figure out how things work, well, prepare to have your mind boggled. We're diving into an architectural mystery from 15th century India that continues to baffle modern engineers to this very day. It's known as the Jhulta Minar, or the Shaking Minarets. Just really think about the physics here for a second. How can one tower shake, another vibrate, while the bridge connecting them stays perfectly still? It sounds like an impossible physical contradiction, right? I mean, if you push a solid stone structure, the energy should travel evenly, basically vibrating everything attached to it. Yet, these historical towers in Ahmedabad, India, completely ignore what we think we know about structural engineering.
Okay, let's dive into this step by step to really understand the sequence of this anomaly. Step 1, you give one of the minarets a gentle shake, and it doesn't take massive force either. Step 2, the vibrations travel invisibly through the structure. Step 3 is where the magic happens. The second tower begins to visibly vibrate, and observers can clearly feel the movement. But step 4 is the real kicker. That connecting passage between the two towers, it stays practically motionless. The energy somehow bypasses or flows through the center without moving it, only to violently re-emerge in the second tower. It's wild.
Section 1. The scene of the crime, 15th century Ahmedabad. So, to understand the how, we first need to get a grip on the where and the when. We're traveling back centuries to a time when master builders crafted monuments that have outlasted entire empires. Let's move to and see how this builds across history. In 1411, Sultan Ahmed Shah founded the city of Ahmedabad. It rapidly grew into this massive center of trade, culture, and, most importantly for us, architecture. Moving into the 15th century, during this golden age, the city Bashir Mosque was constructed, featuring these extraordinary minarets. Then we jump to the colonial era, where baffled British engineers tried to investigate the structure. And finally, arriving at the present day, physical demonstrations have had to be restricted to protect the monument. It's an incredible journey from a medieval golden age all the way to a modern-day preservation effort. We're talking about these incredibly beautifully carved balconies and stonework hiding a legendary secret. These minarets originally stood on either side of the Sidi Bashir Mosque's central entrance. And, they weren't just functional. They were towering, multi-story masterpieces of visual majesty. But at some point after they were built, the locals discovered this incredibly unusual property. What started out as an architectural triumph quickly became legendary for its completely strange physical behavior. Section 2. Decades of failed investigations. The British engineers. You see, an anomaly this famous doesn't exactly go unnoticed by the scientific community, especially during the colonial period, when the British arrived and set their sights on decoding the ancient world. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer frustration this represents. Modern science still cannot fully explain a 15th century building. The British engineers became completely fascinated. They ran investigations, they tried to trace the transfer of energy, and they came up completely empty-handed. In fact, their rigorous attempts to uncover the secret actually caused minor damage to the minarets, which ultimately forced local authorities to step in and restrict further experimentation. They completely failed to crack the code. Section 3. The suspects. Competing engineering theories. So, if the engineers of the past couldn't solve it, what does modern science say? We actually have a lineup of scientific hypotheses attempting to explain the exact mechanics of this medieval marvel. And this brilliantly illustrates the three main modern theories we've got. First up, flexible elements. This theory proposes that the builders intentionally designed structural parts to be flexible, allowing vibrations to travel efficiently right through the masonry. Next, hidden resonance. This argues that there are synchronized frequencies built directly into the stone. Basically, the two towers are tuned to the exact same frequency, almost like giant tuning forks. Finally, layered construction, suggesting the materials themselves act as shock absorbers, channeling energy away from the connecting bridge and pushing it straight into the towers. Which leads us to a really fascinating possibility regarding earthquake resistance, a design intended to absorb and distribute seismic energy to prevent structural collapse. Think about it. If the layered construction or flexible elements theories are true, it means these 15th century builders possessed a shockingly advanced understanding of structural dynamics. They were purposefully building towers that could safely absorb and pass the destructive energy of an earthquake without snapping. They were literally centuries ahead of modern engineering science. So the crucial point is that no single theory has ever been proven to explain everything on its own. Is it the interconnected foundations, the specific architectural geometry, the material flexibility, or precise resonance combinations? Actually, scratch that. It's probably not just one thing. We're likely looking at a highly complex combination of these variables. Despite having modern computers and structural modeling, the exact recipe used by these medieval architects remains just out of reach. It's like a giant puzzle we only have half the pieces for.
Section 4. An enduring secret in stone. The monument today. Over the centuries, this structure has faced earthquakes, harsh weather, and human interference. Parts of the original mosque have even been damaged or destroyed over time, yet these twin shaking minarets miraculously continue to stand. But our ability to actually study them has fundamentally changed. Shaking demonstrations are no longer permitted to protect the surviving minarets. To preserve this amazing symbol of medieval ingenuity, visitors can only admire the towers from a distance now. Because we can no longer subject the monument to physical shaking tests, this has essentially become a locked room mystery. The historical puzzle is permanently sealed.
I really want you to reflect on this quote from the source material. Their secret remains hidden within stone, waiting for future generations to uncover. The Jhulta Minar is so much more than just a historical monument. It's a humbling reminder that ancient builders possess knowledge and specific skills that can still completely surprise us today. I mean, they manipulated heavy stone to behave with the fluidity of water, and they did it hundreds of years ago. So I'll leave you to ponder this final question. What other lost technologies might be hiding in ancient ruins? If a pair of shaking minarets in Ahmedabad can outsmart centuries of brilliant engineers, it really makes you wonder what other incredible forgotten architectural secrets are just waiting out there in the stone for us to rediscover. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and keep asking questions.